relations between Sri Lanka and Oman are traced back to mist of history. Sri Lanka was known as Serendip among the ancient Omani seafarers. History records a visit of 9th century Omani trading vessel to the port of Gaur in Sri Lanka, which evokes the memories of cultural and trade exchanges that had taken place for over 1,000 years between Sri Lanka and Oman. Sri Lanka and Oman established diplomatic relations in 1981, and Sri Lanka opened its resident mission in Muscat in 1987. And Oman opened its mission in Colombo in 2013. Then Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, A.C.S. Hamid, paid an official visit to Oman for the ceremonial opening of the embassy. First ever bilateral discussions between Sri Lanka and the Oman began with the visit of the former Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka, late Lakshman Kadirkama, who led a delegation to Oman in 1996. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, the present Sultan of Oman, in his then capacity as the Secretary General of the Foreign Affairs Ministry of Oman, visited Sri Lanka as a member of a high-level delegation in 1997. But the bilateral relations between the two countries continued to thrive over the years. The signing of a landmark MOU between the two ministries of foreign affairs on the political consultation between the two countries is a milestone in our relations, bilateral relations. This MOU, these political consultations serve as a catalyst for the growing multifaceted fields between the two countries. This was signed during the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Oman, His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, who visited Colombo in 2012. During the past two rounds of political consultations between Sri Lanka and Oman, a range of areas have been identified for potential cooperation in the future, including trade, investment, tourism, agriculture, fisheries, higher education, manpower, skill development, and defense, and so on. So these are the main areas that have been identified for future cooperation between the two countries. And also another aspect, another highlight of our 40th anniversary of the diplomatic relations, Oman, Sri Lanka established a parliamentary friendship association between the two countries, between the Parliament of Sri Lanka and the Shura Council of Oman. They established this parliamentary friendship association, and also they exchanged a high-level visit respectively in 2017 from Oman and 2018 from Sri Lanka. So these are the main highlights between the two countries for the last 40 years. But there are many things happened on bilateral front, but I just highlighted the main events. Well, bilateral economic relations, of course, it's an important area that we have to forge relations in the future. And at present, of course, the current level of bilateral trade and investment between the two countries, unfortunately, does not reflect the potential, the true potential of bilateral economic opportunities available between the two countries. So the total trade between the two countries has been steadily growing in the recent past. Both countries have signed an agreement on the avoidance of double taxation and prevention of fiscal evasion in 2018. This has laid a foundation for stronger business cooperation partnership. And Sri Lanka's exports to Oman include fresh fruits, vegetables, coconut, tea, nuts and seeds, processed food, apparels, boards, panels, electronic products, transport equipment, and so on. More than 90% of total imports to Sri Lanka from Oman consist of mineral fuels and oils. OQ Omani company presently supplies LPG to Litrogas Lanka Limited as a government company in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan popular company Aiken Spence has invested in hospitality sector in Oman, and Oman's Al Otaibi Group has invested in apparel sector in Sri Lanka. Of course, the food and beverages sector, agriculture, fisheries, tourism, apparel, construction, logistics and infrastructure. These are the potential areas for future collaboration and cooperation. So we have to explore the opportunities available in these areas. So we can, I think there are enormous opportunities available between the two countries, but those are untapped, many untapped opportunities. So we are endeavoring to tap those opportunities presently. Well, Oman historically relies on the sea for maritime trade and exploitation of marine resources. Its sea area is twice that of its land area. Its coastal line, of course, is 3,160 kilometers. It is the only Arab Gulf state that enjoys a complete continental shelf in the Indian Ocean, and EEZ of 200 nautical miles, extendable to 300 nautical miles. And also Oman is a strategic location for key maritime trade route also. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's single most important oil passageway, lies between Oman and Iran. More than 40% of the world's exported oil shipments currently pass through this strait. 1/6 of world's oil move through this strait. Qatar, the world's biggest export of LNG, sends most of its LNG through these straits. So it's a gateway. Oman is also a gateway to reach the Gulf, Asian and African markets. Oman's all free economic zones are adjacent to its important seaports. Oman promotes itself as a transshipment hub and a logistical hub. The Duqm economic zone is the largest free trade zone. Oman is promoting this in a big way. There are other 3 more free zones and 12 industrial cities in Oman. And also Oman is a founder member of the IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association. Oman was the chair of IORAC. It was then called IORAC, Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation, in 2002, and passed on its chairmanship to Sri Lanka in 2003. Sri Lanka held the IORAC chairmanship for 2 consecutive years. In 2003 and 2004, it hosted a Council of Ministers Summit in Colombo. I had the privilege to serve as the desk officer for both IORAC Council of Ministers during the Sri Lanka's chairmanship. And Oman plays an active role in IORA as well. Oman is committed to promoting the maritime sector through its economic diversification plan, which has been envisaged by its Vision 2014. Sri Lanka and Oman are strategically located, sharing the Indian Ocean. Both countries are well poised for greater connectivity and deeper economic engagement. Being the coastal states, both nations could explore collaborations in maritime sector, including blue economy, port and shipping cooperation. And also the forthcoming Sri Lanka's chairmanship of IORA could be explored and could be enhanced, could be used to enhance more closer cooperation and engagement with Oman. This is a good opportunity to engage with Oman under that arrangement. Well, I could see a growing momentum. To coincide the 40th anniversary of our diplomatic relations that we are commemorating this year, the mission has introduced a number of initiatives to facilitate bilateral cooperation and collaboration in the future. We have laid a solid foundation for this purpose. To name a few, we have signed an agreement of mutual visa exemption for diplomatic official and service passport holders to facilitate visits of authorities for future bilateral engagements. And also we have scheduled the third bilateral political consultation between the two countries in October this year to take stock of the progress of the past and also to plan for the future roadmap. And we have also laid another solid foundation to boost trade and investment between the two countries. We arranged recently for this month signing of an MOU between two national chambers of commerce of Sri Lanka and Oman to enhance closer engagement between the business communities of both countries. So the more than 100 companies from both countries participated, registered for this B2B matchmaking session that we organized immediately after the signing of the MOU. This demonstrates the enormous interest from both countries in among the private sector. And also we have established a solid ground for export of many Sri Lankan new products to into the Omani market. We have obtained license to export Sri Lankan chicken to Oman. The first time in the history, Sri Lankan chicken, 30 metric ton consignment of Sri Lankan chicken arrived in Oman recently last year. That's a big breakthrough to the Middle East, entire Middle East. So we brought that chicken, a new product to the Middle East. And also we have introduced another 78 new Sri Lankan products from Manchi and Arya products to Spa supermarkets in Oman, which has many chains, many outlets in Oman. So they have introduced 78 new products to Oman, and they have now recently issued a statement saying that within 2 weeks they have sold 75% of the products. So now they have placed another consignment order from Sri Lanka for those products. So it's a good news for us, and that lays a strong foundation for our exports. And also we are working on another proposal to establish a Ceylon tea re-exporting hub in Oman, in one of their free zones, for the purpose of re-exportation or redistribution of Ceylon tea to the GCC market, Iran, Iraq, and Africa, and so on. And also Oman has FTA with USA, so we can also access US market through Oman. And also we are also facilitating a Sri Lankan rubber company is presently setting up its outlet, its plant in the Sohar free zone in Oman for the manufacturing of medical disposable gloves for the re-exportation to this region and other regions from Oman. So we are facilitating this project presently. So, and also we are also facilitating future joint ventures between companies of both countries in boat building sector, because Oman and Sri Lanka are interested in fishing sector. So it's a promising sector between Oman and Sri Lanka for collaboration. So we are promoting companies to collaborate joint ventures in boat building and fisheries sector. And also we have also established some links between Sri Lankan ICT and BPM companies, and also Omani companies or Omani counterpart. They are Omani counterparts for future collaboration in this sector. Also, these are emerging sectors in both countries. We have also recently facilitated visits of Omani investors to Sri Lanka to explore prospective investment opportunities unfolding in a number of areas in Sri Lanka. A delegation, high-level delegation from Shumu Investment Services from Oman visited Sri Lanka recently, and they are also planning to visit in the future for this purpose. And also we have initiated another important proposal to establish a direct container service between the ports of Colombo and Sohar in Oman to boost trade and to boost maritime connectivity, which is very important between the two countries, as these two nations are sharing the Indian Ocean. It's a very important direct connectivity between maritime connectivity between the two countries. And also, of course, this is Oman, as I elaborated earlier. Oman is a maritime hub and a gateway to GCC, Asia and African countries. And also it's also have access to a US market through FTAs. And so Oman is now opening also a new land border with Saudi Arabia. So these are new developments, and the launching of a new direct independent maritime connectivity between Sri Lanka and Oman will open up new vistas of opportunities in the future. So that is the whole purpose of this proposal that we are working on now to establish direct maritime connectivity. And also we have, we have been promoting the people-to-people contacts between the two countries. The people-to-people contacts are the bedrock of our relations in the past. Omani halwa is known as mustard in Sri Lanka. So this demonstrates the deep rooted people-to-people contacts between the two countries. A large number of Sri Lankans are employed in Oman, and they have been contributing to the development of Oman for many decades. The first, I wish to mention, the first Inspector General of Police of Oman was a Sri Lankan national, Mr. Felix de Silva. So this demonstrates the deep engagement and also the part of Oman's development with the Sri Lankan nationals here in Oman. And also we have a well-established 30 years old Sri Lankan school. More than 1,000 students are studying there in Muscat. We are committed to further elevate the growing relations between the two countries in all aspects into new heights in the years ahead.